It feels like we say this every other week at this point, or really once a week at this point, but this weekend really did feel like the death blow to the 2024 Red Sox. Is it completely over? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and yet another disappointing weekend for Red Sox fans as the Red Sox dropped 2 out of 3 games to the Detroit Tigers in Detroit, officially putting them just 3 games over 500 at 70 and 67. That is good for 4.5 games back of a wild card spot, of the third wild card spot, with just 4 weeks left to go. So today, what we are going to do is we're going to go over this series and talk about whether or not this one was actually the final nail in the Red Sox coffin, or if there's still hope to be had here with this Red Sox team. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. All right, so it's actually extremely difficult for us to sit here and try to figure out whether or not the Red Sox season is over, mostly because the only surefire way to do that, and we could sit here, we could say, oh, there's no way they make the postseason, or there's no way they don't make the postseason, but the only way to really determine that is whether or not they mathematically are eliminated, or if they mathematically get in. So we're not really going to know until that point happens. However, it's really not looking good right now. As of today, Fangraphs has the Red Sox with a 15% chance of making the postseason, the lowest they have had basically since the beginning of the year. I think even at the beginning of the year, they were in the 20s for percentage chance of the postseason. I believe this is the lowest they've been this entire year, and one of the biggest reasons why the Red Sox simply cannot win games right now, and one of the biggest things we can point to when we're talking about making an estimated guess as to when the Red Sox season truly dies, is this offense, because this offense has been one of the worst in Major League Baseball over their last 10 games. They simply have fallen apart in the biggest moments of the 2024 season, because taking a look at it, you're talking about the last 10 games for this Red Sox offense being a 206 average with a 610 OPS. To put that in perspective, the worst overall offense in baseball this season is the Chicago White Sox with a 616 OPS. The Red Sox have been flat out terrible at the plate for over a week now. During that time span, they've also averaged a total of 9 strikeouts per game with just over 1 walk. They're simply swinging and missing way too much. We talked about it in last week's video. We talked about it in the Toronto Blue Jays series video. The reason the Red Sox are losing games is because they simply can't get people on base and get anything going. 1 walk, 1.7 walks to over 9 strikeouts a game certainly isn't a ratio that's going to get some momentum going in this lineup. They're averaging 4.6 batters left on base a game and scoring just 3. They're doing absolutely nothing at the plate right now. And to me, this is absolutely the biggest reason why the Red Sox simply cannot figure out how to get wins in big moments, because there have been opportunities here for you. The Royals have lost 4 games in a row. They feel like they might be spiraling a bit, and the Red Sox did absolutely nothing to take advantage of those 2 scenarios. One of the biggest reasons why the Red Sox offense is fumbling is because their biggest players are all fumbling at the exact same time. Now, obviously, Rafi has been out for a little bit. Tristan's just coming back, and O'Neill has also been dealing with stuff as well. But if you look at the 3, 4, and 5 in this lineup right now, over their last 10 games, you're talking about 6 and 39 for Rafael Devers. Casas is 8 for 36, and O'Neill is 4 for 37. The best average of the 3 of those is Tristan Casas at 212. That simply is not going to get the job done. Right now, you're being carried by simply Jarren Duran and Wilyer Abreu. And to make matters worse, Moss has also been helping out this offense a lot, but the Red Sox are so uncomfortable with him playing the field for some unknown reason, to be honest with you, because taking a look at the metrics, it's really not terrible defensively for Masataka Yoshida. They refuse to put him on the field. They would rather have Connor Wong take an outfield spot than Masataka Yoshida. It makes absolutely no sense to me. This series made absolutely no sense to me. The offense right now makes absolutely no sense to me. And I will say, obviously, they faced Tariq Skubal in this series, and Tariq Skubal's one of the best starting pitchers in the entire sport, so it's fine that you can't hit that guy, but to not be able to hit the Detroit Tigers bullpen for 9 whole innings and score just 1 singular run on 4 or 5 hits the entire game, that says something about where this offense is right now, and it really is a shame because the pitching is going in the exact opposite direction. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's get into this pitching staff because it honestly really is an entirely different story. When we're talking about starting pitching for the Red Sox, this is the second series in a row where this starting rotation has really done their job, breaking them down game by game. Tanner Houck threw a gem, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, and he struck out 6. I have to tell you, after Houck hit that rough patch in July, it looked like it was going to be a season of him making adjustments and trying to figure himself out for 2025. It looks like he's been able to make in-game and week-to-week adjustments and bring himself back to a caliber pitcher like we saw in the first half of this season, and that is a really, really big sign. That is a sign that Tanner Houck truly does have the capacity to go an entire season while being a top of the rotation arm for this Red Sox team. And beyond 2024, that's big news for 2025. He continues to prove time and time again that he is the best starting pitcher on this current staff. And I got to tell you, Nick Pivetta didn't look too bad either. He went toe-to-toe with probable Cy Young winner Tarik Skubal, and he actually fought him pretty well. He went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 2 earned runs that really honestly shouldn't have even been earned runs. Rob Resnider really let him down defensively in this series, and he struck out 6. Pivetta has finally broken that streak of 1 good start, 1 really bad start, because now he's got 2 good starts in a row. Again, you guys know my feelings on Pivetta, but hopefully this is a sign that, hey, maybe he can start stringing together 3, 4, 5 good starts in a row and finish out this season really, really strong. That would be a big help for this Red Sox team. And finally, Cooper Criswell was perfect. No, literally, he was perfect. He went 4 innings, no hits, no walks, no runs, and he struck out 5 for the absolute life of me. I have no clue why Alex Cora pulled him here. He spoke after the game and said, look, that was the game plan going into this. They were going to allow Cooper Criswell to go 4.5-ish innings, and then they were going to bring in Rich Hill, which is a fine plan. But this is the first time in, I think, a little while here where Alex Cora just flat out ignored the in-game feeling, right? That's what Alex Cora is really good at. He's good at marrying the statistics and the ability to know what to do in the right moment because of feel, because of game feel, right? And that's something that really set him apart from a lot of managers in Major League Baseball. This was an instance where he just did not do that. He didn't take into consideration the game feel of Cooper Criswell throwing a perfect hitter and decided to go to Rich Hill, and it flat out did not work out. Alex Cora did not help this team win any games in this series, and that is a very unfortunate thing to say at this point in the year. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, Alex Cora pulling Cooper Criswell doesn't really matter because we could sit here and debate it all day. The odds of Cooper Criswell throwing a no-hitter or even more so a perfect game are extremely, extremely small. It all comes back to the Red Sox offense, which again only scored 1 singular run in this game against a bullpen game for the Detroit Tigers, and a guy who started this game for the Detroit Tigers who the Red Sox have really beat down in past meetings. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Nothing in this series and nothing on the Boston Red Sox makes sense to me at all. What Alex Cora is doing decision-wise makes no sense to me. What they're doing with position players makes no sense to me. What the offense is doing makes no sense to me. The fact that the pitching staff has been able to pick itself up is great, still makes no sense to me at all. And then we look at the bullpen, and they certainly had their moments of not great stuff in this series. Kenley Jansen blowing a lead. Brendan Bernardino can't keep the ball in the yard. Rich Hill looking like Rich Hill at 44 years old in this series. But overall, I mean, again, you look at the pitching staff, and it's going in an entirely different direction than what the offense is doing right now. Because overall, despite that, they still had a series ERA of 3.46. If you told me that going into the Detroit Tigers series, the Boston Red Sox would have a sub-4 ERA in all 3 games combined, I would tell you the Red Sox probably won that series, right? The pitching has been doing their job. In fact, they've been doing their job for a little bit now. Taking into consideration their last 7 games, which is the last 4 Blue Jays games and these 3 Detroit Tigers game, they have an ERA of just 2.61. That is, and they've gone 3-4 during their stretch. That feels absolutely ridiculous. When was the last time we got a 7-game, a full week stretch of the Boston Red Sox coming out and pitching to a tune of a sub-3 ERA? I'll tell you, the last time that most likely happened was back in June. Between June 16th and June 23rd, the Red Sox had a 3.05 ERA. Want to guess what they went during that stretch? That was 6-1. That is a real stark difference, but a very similar style of pitching as to what we've been seeing from this Red Sox pitching staff lately. The defense isn't helping them, and the offense sure as hell isn't helping them at all. So what we're looking at here, when we go back to the question of whether or not it's over for this Red Sox team, whether or not we can consider this season done just 2 days into September, it's a tricky question to answer because you could see sort of how the Red Sox can piece this together here. If the Red Sox rotation and bullpen continue to pitch to the tune of a sub-4 ERA, you're talking about a real potential here to give themselves a shot. Neither the Twins or the Kansas City Royals really look like all that formidable of an opponent right now. The Royals have lost 4 games. The Minnesota Twins won their series against the Blue Jays, but at the same time, too, they've lost 2 series in a row, and they didn't look super stellar against the Blue Jays either. There is a legitimate path to the playoffs here. I just, like we've been saying for a while, don't know how the Red Sox get there. I'm not sure I'm willing to bet on this rotation and this bullpen being able to continue to give you a sub-4 ERA for an entire month, and I don't know what's going on with this offense right now. I don't know if it's a mindset thing. I don't know if they are just fully worn out because of how athletically they've been playing this year, but you're talking about the second year in a row where you're seeing a full offensive collapse from this Red Sox team. Does it have to do something with youth, an entire group that's not really used to playing 162 games? I don't know, but that is going to be the only way that the Red Sox are going to be able to put themselves in a position to win a playoff spot. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to say it's totally over. The reason I'm not going to say that is because between now and September 21st, when the Twins come to Fenway, if the Red Sox can find themselves somehow, some way, 3 or 2 games behind them, they still have a shot of making this postseason. But the games between now and then aren't exactly easy. You do have some Chicago White Sox in there, but you got the Orioles, you got the Yankees, you've got legitimate, formidable opponents between now and then, and it's all going to come down to whether or not this Red Sox offense can give them enough to be able to win 2 more games in that time span than the Minnesota Twins do, and that's a lot to ask. I know 2 games doesn't sound like a ton, but you only have 4 weeks to do it. Really, you only have 3 weeks to do it until you get to that Twins series, which could ultimately determine the fate of this season. It just, every single card is officially stacked up against them. For a while, it's been, these guys' backs are up against the wall. I would say their backs are pretty much through the wall at this point. They are as close to dead as you could possibly get without being dead. One more bad series, and I mean literally any more bad series at this point in the season probably sinks your ship, and I wouldn't be surprised if this Detroit Tigers series was the end of it, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? Is this the final nail in the coffin for you for the 2024 Red Sox? I know a lot of you guys have given up already, so let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox series and the question of whether or not this season is over in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for taking a second and clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.